Welcome back. This lesson is about one of the most important trust distinctions there is: revocable versus irrevocable. Imagine you are holding a high-tech remote control for your estate. A revocable living trust is like having that remote in your hand every single day. You can change the channel, turn up the volume, or even hit the power off button whenever you like. But an irrevocable trust is different. It is like programming a set of instructions into a machine and then placing the remote inside a time-locked vault. You might still see what the machine is doing, but you can no longer change the settings once the vault door is closed. Both tools are powerful, but they are used for very different reasons. To build a roadmap that actually fits your life, you need to understand which remote you should be holding. Let's start with the most popular choice for everyday individuals: the Revocable Living Trust. This is the gold standard for probate avoidance and planning for incapacity. The superpower of a revocable trust is its flexibility. As the grantor, you could change your mind at any time while you are alive and competent. You could move property in and out of the trust box. You could change who the successor trustee is, or you could cancel the trust entirely. A revocable trust is the I want flexibility trust. In many common setups, you are the grantor, the trustee, and the primary beneficiary all at once, which means day-to-day life may feel almost the same. So what's the point? At a high level, revocable trusts are often about organization, continuity, and probate avoidance for assets that are actually inside the trust. They can also help with smooth management if incapacity happens, because the trust already has a mechanism for a successor trustee to step in. But here's a key concept. Because you keep control of this remote control, the government and the courts generally view the assets as still belonging to you. If you can change your mind and take the property back, then the law generally treats the property as still effectively yours. That matters for taxes and for protection. This means there usually aren't any immediate gift tax consequences when you fund it, and the assets could still be counted as part of your estate when it comes to estate tax. Now let's talk about irrevocable trusts. An irrevocable trust is the "this is permanent trust." It is a "sorry, what's done is done" type of setup. Once you place property into an irrevocable trust, you generally cannot retrieve it. For all intents and purposes, that property no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the trust entity itself. Once assets go in, you generally can't just undo it. You're giving up control in exchange for some benefit that usually only works if the trust is truly separate from you. And this is where people get surprised. If you place something into an irrevocable trust and later realize you need that asset back, or your circumstances change, or your relationships change, oops is not a strategy. Irrevocable trusts could create regret when people misunderstand what they're giving up. Because you're not just signing paperwork. You're changing ownership and changing your options. That's why irrevocable trusts are risky when misunderstood. Why would anyone ever choose to give up that kind of control? The answer is strategy. Because you have surrendered ownership and control, the assets in an irrevocable trust could gain superpowers that a revocable trust simply cannot provide. First, there is creditor protection. If a person sues you or a creditor looks to collect a debt, they could generally reach the assets in your revocable living trust because you still control them. However, because you no longer own the assets in an irrevocable trust, those creditors may find the vault doors locked. But, and this is a big but, protection depends on the type of trust, your state's rules, how the trust is drafted, and whether it's administered correctly. Second, there is tax protection. For individuals with very large estates that may exceed federal or state estate tax limits, an irrevocable trust could be a primary tool for freezing the value of an asset or removing it from your taxable estate entirely. This could potentially save your heirs a significant amount of money in death taxes. A common example of this is an irrevocable life insurance trust, or an ILIT. If you own a large life insurance policy in your own name, the death benefit could be added to your taxable estate, potentially triggering a massive tax bill. But by having an irrevocable trust own the policy, those proceeds could flow to your family tax-free. However, the consequences of an irrevocable trust are real. If you put your home into an irrevocable trust but continue to reside in it without following specific rules, you may inadvertently break the law and lose the very protections you were seeking. You may also trigger gift tax filings the moment you transfer the property. This is why irrevocable trusts are often considered the heavyweights of estate planning. They are effective, but they require a professional guide to handle them safely. So when does an irrevocable trust actually make sense? At a high level, it's most likely to make sense when the goal requires permanence. For example, certain estate tax strategies are built around removing assets from your taxable estate. Certain protection strategies are built around assets not being treated as yours. Certain life insurance strategies are built around ownership rules. Another example category is special purpose, trusts that exist to do one job and do it cleanly. And yes, there are more advanced forms of irrevocable trusts, including grantor-retained trusts, like GRATs, GRUTs, and GRITs, where you transfer assets but keep some form of benefit for a period of time, and then the remainder goes to someone else. We'll cover these in more depth in the bonus section. But here's the takeaway you need right now. Irrevocable trusts are irrevocable. They are technical. And they are most likely not do-it-yourself territory. But here's the perspective shift for today. You don't have to choose just one tool for your entire life. Your roadmap might include a revocable living trust for your home and bank accounts to keep things simple and flexible, while also using a specialized irrevocable trust for a specific asset like life insurance or a family business. By watching this video, you have already cleared the hurdle of trust confusion. You now understand that revocable means I'm in charge and this plan is flexible, and irrevocable means I'm likely trading flexibility and control for a specific result. You know that for most families, the journey begins with flexibility, and complexity is added when there is a specific tax or protection goal to achieve. Answer the questions below this video, and in the MyEstateKit app, we have provided additional tools to help understand revocable and irrevocable trusts. For those who want to deep dive, we have bonus material in the bonus section of the app to explore additional trust structures that are more tailored to specific needs. You're doing great. Let's keep up the momentum.